It is the Deweyi Drive. Welcome aboard, and we're coming to you live from Kampala and, of course, live on YouTube. We really do thank God for technology. I was in a fellowship last night, and we had a powerful preacher from the US, and she did pray and said, we thank you, Lord, for technology. And today, I was thinking about it. We really thank God who gave wisdom for technology. I have two great guests. One is in Kampala, but he'll also be on call. And then I have a guest who will tell you where he is, in which part of Asia he's standing or sitting, and what exactly he's doing. And today what is exciting is today we're doing a special episode. Fridays are Glow Up, Grow Up. And today we want you to grow as a storyteller. How do you using your stories? Are you using your stories to drive change, positive impact? Yes, we will be looking at that. And as we look at sustainable storytelling, we will take a moment, first of all, to honor a great storyteller who went to rest last night. For more than 2 decades, he was the face of the Voice of America, Shaka Sally. Let's take a moment of silence to honor him. That went to rest. But you know, we honor such a storyteller for more than 2 decades. He was serving as a journalist who was hosting global leaders and asking the tough questions. So yes, that we've seen through his work what storytelling can do. And of course, our beloved voice and host of Straight Talk Africa, as he goes to rest, we continue the race of storytelling and driving it for positive impact. And today on our show, yes, of course, as we continue to talk storytelling, we will be looking at the power. How do we use sustainable storytelling? Actually, we're going into the world of sustainable storytelling. That is what the conversation is about. And I'll introduce my guests right away. They're both already online. And I welcome them both so you get to know who they are and where they are. I'll start with Enoch. Welcome, Enoch. How are you? Enoch, unmute yourself. We cannot hear you. Enoch, can you unmute yourself? We cannot hear you. Please unmute yourself, Enoch. Hello, Enoch. How are you? Yes. Yeah. I don't know. Something is wrong with your audio, Enoch. I'm not able to hear you. What could the matter be? Is that better? Actually, the voice is still really low. Yes, Enoch. How are you? I cannot hear you. I cannot. Somebody have launched. Enoch, how are you? Okay, I don't know why the sound is really low. I don't know why the sound is really low. Just keep checking on me. I'm trying to get your voice. It's just the sound is really low. I do not know why. But this is technology. Let's try to figure it out. The technical team is working around the clock. You are watching the Deweyi Drive. If you have just logged on, we welcome you absolutely to the show. We're happy to have you on aboard. We just did celebrate our Shaka Saleh, and today is really going to excite you. I hope it does excite you because it's one of those days where we will be looking at special these are things we do every day. We do tell stories every day. We do tell stories every day. We tell stories for personal connection. We tell stories to connect emotionally. We use storytelling to sell our businesses. We use storytelling to sell our manifesto. Say in the case of relationship, dating things, somebody will tell you a story so you get to know him or her better, depending on what kind of partner it is you're looking for. We use stories to break stereotypes. We use stories to, to put a face to things, because when you tell a story, then a thing stops being a thing, but something that is relatable too. So yes, we'll be talking about that. And I do have two great guests. I'm going to try again to bring Enoch on board. Enoch?
Yes, Jackie.
I can actually hear you here, but I don't know why your voice is really low. Stuart, can we just work with this maybe?
How about now?
Okay. Just say, Enoch, hello?
Hello?
Yes, I think this is good now. Perfect. I get you. It was technology. It was on my side. Sorry. I'm so sorry, Enoch. We did keep you waiting. But please do introduce yourself. Enoch is the project coordinator of Masterpiece Uganda. He'll introduce himself before you get to know what Masterpiece is. Then we'll go to our second guest. He will tell you which part of Asia he's seated or standing and who he is. And then we'll get to know what Masterpiece and Cool Leaders are all about. And then we'll dive into the big one, which is sustainable storytelling and the role of storytelling in sustainable living, in sustainable education, everything. Enoch, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jackie. The Cavalry boy used to say, I'm terrific.
You bet.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so my name is Enoch Nsubuga, and I'm the project coordinator for Masterpiece Uganda. In brief, Masterpiece Uganda is a youth empowerment organization and a proud member of the Masterpiece Global Foundation, an award-winning grassroots network of non-government organizations, social enterprises, partner organizations, active citizens, and artists making a difference locally and globally.
All right.
Yeah, that Masterpiece Uganda for you.
All right, we'll get to know more about Masterpiece Uganda, but first we wanted you to know who Enoch is, and that is Enoch Nsubuga, the Masterpiece Uganda coordinator. Let's go straight to Sudipto, who is the founder Culture Monks, and he is a change maker at Cool Leaders. And before we get to understand what Cool Leaders is, let's first get to know who Sudipto is. You're welcome aboard, Sudipto.
Hey, Jackie and Enoch, it's so nice to be on this show. Thank you for having me over. Yes, hello.
All right.
A very warm good afternoon to all the listeners in Uganda. And thank you for joining this show. And yes, we are all part of this Masterpiece family. And I'm very lucky and fortunate to know all of you. And yes, Cool Leaders is an initiative which we started as we feel that everybody in this world has several talents, and they need to nurture these talents and develop their consciousness and take responsibility. And if they do so, then we will have a stronger voice from the grassroots and also a stronger shift towards achieving equality and the sustainable goals, which are very difficult to achieve if everyone doesn't get involved in this process. And we need leadership at all levels of the society, not just from the top. There is this concept of being ungovernable, which means that we don't need a government to tell us what to do. We actually, as citizens, we are very much aware of what needs to be done and it is we are also leaders, and we can show the way for others. And co-leaders, as Enoch was saying, uses is a more creative way of looking at the world, looking at yourself, paying attention to your overall being, not just your mind and body or money. I mean, looking at yourself as a more holistic person, and then from there, taking the path of the least resistance, trying to take everybody together, bring everybody together rather than creating distance, create nearness, bring closeness, and together try to find a way to coexist and to find solutions to problems which are conflicts and other scarcities and issues which are always there. So, that is the concept of co-leaders. Yes.
All right. I'll go back to you, Sudipto. How actually diving straight into the topic of the day as we talk storytelling and the power of storytelling, of course, for sustainable living and everything, because and when you explain what Culture Monks is, people using their talents, their skills for good, to do good, but also into that do good if you're not happiness yourself. So I like that is now sustainable. You're pouring from a full cup. Yeah.
It's always two parts. Yourself is very important. Yes.
Yeah. So from my understanding, from what you had to say, storytelling is it transcends culture, linguistic barriers. It is a powerful tool. And before we go global, we saw that even ourselves, we are part of storytelling. How do you think storytelling can be leveraged to drive sustainable development initiatives? Particularly, I want to take it from the context of who leaders want, but just make it really for me to understand. If I'm a viewer who does not want to lead, and it's my first time to come in touch with this kind of change making.
Oh, yes, I'll try to do that. And stories, we have only storytelling. Stories in a way, because it is the form of communication. If you see the cave paintings, from the beginning of civilization, where language was still not developed, people used to use the painting to communicate and tell stories about what happened during the day, how they feel things will happen the next day, find strategies of survival, of getting things like that. So it's a very thing to tell stories. It's basically needed for survival. So and who we are, where we come from, what we do, what we are going to do, are all stories. Like we tell stories all the time, and the stories keep changing. We tell stories to ourselves silently, and then we tell stories to others. So the stories we tell ourselves is very important for self-belief, to create your personality, and then the stories we tell others are ways to relate to them, to come close to them, to influence them, to be to fall in love, to have family, for society, to be leaders in business, to sell something, stories.
Interesting. Wow. You really try to make it so easy to understand, and that's what I want. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, can you share with us an example of how Masterpiece Uganda has used storytelling during their work in Uganda, and if it has
Thank you, Jackie. Firstly, let me try to drive this home. What storytelling for sustainable movement really is important.
Yeah.
So it's like using fun, exciting stories to teach us to take care of the earth and each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine a story about a farmer who plants trees to clean the air, or a group of friends who recycle bottles to save animals in water bodies like lakes. So these stories help us learn why it's important to protect nature, share resources, and be kind to everyone. Yeah, the stories show how small actions like turning off lights, using less plastic, or helping a neighbor, can make the world healthier and happier for all people, animals, and plants.
Wow.
Now and in the future, So it's like learning to be Earth's hero through adventures and tales. So back home here at Masterpiece Uganda. At Masterpiece Uganda, we use storytelling. Storytelling is central to amplifying youth voices. Remember, I told you that we are about youth empowerment and community transformation. So storytelling helps us amplify youth voices. For example, we document and share success stories of young entrepreneurs training through our programs. Then these stories are shared via social media mostly, And currently we are planning to start a community radio so that we have a better reach of our target audience, which is the youth. So you also asked about the impact of that.
Yes.
So these stories inspire peer participation. So if other young people hear stories from other young people, then they are inspired to also participate in whatever campaigns we are doing. Stories also help us attract partnerships and also increase our program enrollment in our areas of operation.
Thank you, Enoch. I realize how powerful storytelling is. From what Enoch and Sudipto have shared so far, you can see that from things like raising awareness about environmental issues, you mentioned about plastic, about inspiring behavioral change, promoting culture exchange and understanding. As I have seen, we have shared some pictures on the screen of your work in Masterpiece Uganda. I've seen you with the Bunyala Kingdom. That is now cultural exchange and understanding as you're telling stories to each other, empowering marginalized communities. We're saying youth, and he did mention the community radio. Very, very powerful tool. You see, I hope that if you're just joining us and maybe you didn't know you're a storyteller, I think we're all storytellers from what I've seen. So Dipto said, from as simple as just telling a story to make someone fall in love with you and so you can have children, you are a storyteller. Yes? So Dipto.
Yes, exactly. I think that the poet in India, in Hindu religion, the most important person was the poet who started this book of verses, which were where he made this beautiful image of the heaven, and everybody tried to believe in that image. So, like that, a storyteller creates images, create images of sustainable development, and it's also through a participative mode, like if everybody tells stories as a practice or as just an exercise, where they bring into the room different perspectives. It's all imagination, but they are trying to deal with reality in a new way. So there is, and the way, and when we are telling stories, we are obviously we are at a higher level of consciousness because we are using our senses more than we would otherwise. So that makes the whole process, I feel, more engaging, and also that opens up possibilities for new imaginative creative ideas to come up,
Absolutely.
which can help to overcome the seemingly impossible problems
Oh,
that
wow.
we face. It helps people to let go, to, it helps people to deal with trauma.
Yes.
Like I saw your program on parenting, and it was so beautiful.
Thank
where
you.
people come together and they are sharing, and they are, so they are letting go and they are renewing themselves. So there is
Yes.
a possibility of another day,
Wow.
of another possibility. So this is where sustainable storytelling for sustainable ideas comes in, where you create, like the cave painting used to be done to show how we can hunt or how we to save ourselves from something. Like now, we can use the same thing, but to create a vision of the world which is in balance with our needs and the needs of the nature of animals, because that is very important for a place like Uganda, which is so much nature based, and its whole identity, its whole beauty, all over the world, I guess. But
Yeah.
I think that is where also for transmission of knowledge to
Yeah.
the next generation. It's important that the old stories are not forgotten. The names of the trees, the names of the birds,
Yes.
the names of the rituals, they should make everybody feel proud of what they are. And that is one way of keeping these things alive. And
Yeah.
for people, children, to develop a love for these things so that they feel affection, they
Yeah.
feel longing, so that these things don't go away so easily.
Wow.
So I think that also to build the right values within people, within children, it's important to have, keep on with this process of storytelling. And that is where it all comes in, this whole idea of using storytelling for the Cool Leaders program. And it's all Jackie and your great initiative to take it to another level. And thank you very much for that.
Enoch, how do you envision this partnership between Cool Leaders? Are you there?
Yes, Jackie, I'm here.
Okay. How do you envision this partnership between Cool Leaders and Masterpiece Uganda using storytelling to promote sustainable development in Uganda?
Firstly, Jackie, I'll tell you that stories make complicated issues relatable, yeah? So, for example, now this very particular topic that we are talking about, climate change or sustainable development, it can only make a lot of sense to so many people through stories, yeah?
Yeah.
So the Cool Leaders platform provides exactly that, yeah? A platform for us to be able to tell stories, to engage young people and the public at large. And it's not only Cool Leaders platform that we are using, but for example, we are also planning to partner with youthful artists to create a podcast series on climate change, featuring farmers adopting to different challenges like droughts, yeah. Then in the areas of waste management, we are organizing a trash to treasure storytelling competition, where young people will be showcasing innovations like recycled plastic bricks, yeah. So at the end of the day, these narratives, these stories shift mindsets and drive community action, yeah?
Yeah.
As seen in neighboring Kenya, yes. Those guys have done a very good job in this area. So, yeah, that's how we are using the platform of Cool Leaders to share what we are doing through storytelling.
Quite impressive, Enoch, and your team at Masterpiece Uganda. My next question to Sudipto is, Sudipto, what advice would you give young leaders, young change makers who want to use storytelling to drive sustainable development?
Yes, I think the first beautiful thing is when you see a problem, whether it's with you in your life or with the family or the society or anything, the first thing is to go back to the storyboard, I think, and make the story, and to then sit down and think, what is the story, what has happened, what is it that you want to change, what is it that you want to change, and then how can you change it, and whom should you go to seek help and to find the resources to solve the problem. So basically, if you just sit down and put your mind to it and draw out the story before you apply it in the real world, without thinking too much about what's happening, because what's happening is temporary, it will go away. But what is needed is a story, as a good story. So it's to make that story, the process of making that story itself, I feel makes you a stronger person. It gives you more belief, and also gives you more resources. You reach out to people in real life to find out what is it that you want to, how you can do it, these sort of things. So I think that believe in the power of stories, believe that storytelling itself has the cure. It might not solve the problem, but it will make you a better communicator, a better thinker, and that goes a long way to being a leader, or to find a way to live with the problem or to solve the problem.
Wow. Thank you, Sudipto. There's so much learning about sustainable storytelling, things we take for granted when we think we've been telling our stories. But this, I really do hope that today you're learning. If you do have a question, please do leave the question on YouTube, or there's a WhatsApp number on the screen, 773. If you're not in Uganda, put a +256 773 356837, or just drop me a message on YouTube. The show is live right now, and do share the link if you're a change maker. These are the conversations that maybe lots of spaces are not allowing you to to have, and this is a platform that is allowing you to grow as a change maker, and allowing you to do good. Enoch, hello.
Yes, Jackie.
Yeah.
Yes, Jackie.
So, how can storytelling be used to raise awareness about specific development issues in Uganda? Maybe say, because you mentioned climate change earlier, you mentioned waste management. Choose any of those maybe, but just help me as a change maker in Uganda know how to practically use it.
Thank you, Jackie. I'll use our scenario in Uganda, here at Masterpiece Uganda. We use local languages, yeah, and then collaborate with community leaders as co-creators, and then leverage accessible platforms like radio dramas, yeah. For example, in our upcoming campaign, Voices of the Margins project, we intend to train young people to collect oral histories from elderly women, ensuring intergenerational inclusion. Yeah, and also use mobile storytelling booths in remote areas. Will also help us to reach those without internet access. Is that clear?
Yes, it is very clear.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, thank you, Enoch. I've seen that you are taking the storytelling for sustainability really, really serious in Uganda. And so we are looking forward to sharing more stories from Masterpiece Uganda and what we will be doing with your cool leaders, partnerships, and storytelling projects. And Sudipto, are you there?
Yes,
Okay.
Jackie, yes.
So, Dipto, I wanted to ask you, where's my question? My goodness. I wanted to ask you about some examples where you as school leaders, especially you at the top leadership, have used sustainable storytelling, the memorable ones, and you're like, this, we told this story, and this was the impact, and we didn't even see it coming?
Well, storytelling has different forms.
Yeah.
It can be verbal or non-verbal.
Yeah.
The way you make a website is also a story. The way you are presenting this talk show is a story. So I think that for Culture Month, storytelling has been the most important way, where we have a storytelling workshop and a platform called Akasha, which means the sky. And
Okay.
and that has helped us to connect with people all over the world, because it happens on an online mode, and we've had participation from all different people, and which has enriched our idea about storytelling, and also about life, and also about sustainable development. And we have been able to create a community through that process. And so in terms of cool leaders, Masterpiece is really very good at creating stories, because storytelling has been very fundamental for the origin and foundation of Masterpiece. And it's Masterpiece, the way Masterpiece has been able to create stories of building communities, of bringing people together, and to trying to find solutions to problems without having a very top-down structure, is only possible through the power of story. So I think that we have been able to use stories to bring communities together, like in Sylhet, which is a place in India, which is a language group which is extinct, and we are trying to build, we are trying to reinvigorate or to bring to life that literature and writings in that language. So this has been helping through the process of storytelling, has helped in this process. And also, as Enoch was saying, in Kenya, they have storytelling has been used very effectively. Also, we've had a storyteller from Cameroon who is using stories to deal with the problem of repatriation of the archives or from the museum pieces from Europe. So where storytelling has been a powerful mode for activism. Storytelling or artivism, which is a form of storytelling, using art to bring forward to animate the problem and to bring out solution, is very much part of Masterpiece agenda, and we regularly have online seminars and the next boot camp that we are doing in India of school leaders, of youth leaders, their activism and storytelling is a very important aspect of that training program. So, and the 9 months fellowship. So, will include, will require the fellows to emerge with stories of change and to showcase their stories digitally. So these are various ways where storytelling is being used. I'm sorry, I'm not able to give you specific examples.
No problem.
To the question.
Yeah, but you have answered the question.
As I said,
yeah.
Yes. The storytelling has a wide ambit. It's not just about a particular thing, but yes.
Wow.
That way.
At least you did show us the impact and how, there's growth. It's the cool leaders is collaborating across you, not just in Uganda, you're in East Africa, you're in TZ, you're in Burundi. I mean, you're in Kenya, you're in Burundi, you're in Cameroon, you're in West Africa. Yeah, that shows how powerful the storytelling movement is going.
Yes, there are stories within a story. Like the story today is that we are talking about stories.
Yes.
But within that story, Enoch is telling his story. So, I mean, and every story that is being told is creating another story. So, So that is, it's just, without this storytelling, I don't think that we would be here as opposed to where we were like a while ago. And now we are thinking how to create more impactful stories which are about sustainable development. So,
Absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely. And after today, I feel like we should even do maybe a monthly talk on sustainable storytelling, because I feel like I'm learning so much from this conversation. I do hope that even the
Actually,
audience as well.
yes, Jack. Actually, my experience is that we know very little. It's the people who have the stories,
Yeah.
and we just need to get them to share their stories.
Yeah.
Older people, younger people, and they have stories to share. And this collective storytelling creates a larger story. Which is a story which is about change and
Absolutely.
about a kind of world that we want to live in.
Oh.
So I think that it's a very good initiative to bring people together to share stories and for us to learn from the stories and to make new stories.
Wow. Enoch, this is for you and Sudipto. After Enoch, you'll answer the same question. It's going to both of you. What are some of those common challenges or limitations that organizations, especially those in the change-making space, are facing or face when, using storytelling to derive sustainable change?
Okay. Talking about challenges, Jackie.
Yeah.
From our experience here at Masterpiece Uganda, we can say that the challenges include tokenism, or exploiting stories without consent. Now that social media is on the rise here in Uganda, people are exploiting other people's stories without consent, and then oversimplification. So someone uses your story without necessarily knowing exactly what the problem is or the challenge is, and then they turn it into whatever they want to achieve. And so organizations are finding that as a challenge. So we address this by here at Masterpiece. We're addressing that by training young people to own their stories or narratives through workshops on ethical storytelling. Yeah. We are also trying to partner with local journalists to ensure subtle reporting or ethical reporting. So that's how we are trying to tackle the challenges which involve tokenism, like I said earlier.
Thank you. Enoch, you did share the challenges that you're facing using storytelling to derive sustainable development in Uganda. But also I like that you actually didn't wait for me to ask you what some of the solutions you think. You did give them. So Dipto, could you also share some of the challenges you have faced with your experience as a storyteller in trying to derive sustainable, change?
Yes, I think there are a few things that I would like to point out. One is that storytelling creates a narrative, but sometimes the narrative becomes stronger than the facts. So a lot of fake news and false information gets circulated, where the narrative is becoming stronger, but the actual fact is. So there is always the need to have these kind of moral compasses, or the leadership in the community to be able to rectify that. The second thing is that that is one of the important thing about storytelling can be a powerful, positive mode, but also it can create a lot of negativity if it is not regulated in some ways. So that is one aspect which is there. The other aspect is, I just forgot about it, so I'll come back to it probably later. But this is one of the things that I think that is very primarily one of the things that we face.
All right. Thank you so much, Sudip. So there's a lot of learning. If you are interested in storytelling, you are in the arts, you are in the social making space, you are a socialpreneur, you are a change maker, or you just want to do good, this is a conversation you should be a part of. And if you're a storyteller that would love to be on the show, drop me a message. Let me know, and trust me, we will make it possible for you to come on this show, because this is what we want to do. We want to create a platform for you to be able to tell your stories, but most importantly, the fact that you're even willing to tell these stories. Like Sudipto said, the storytelling takes different formats. Some are telling stories of their communities. You could be telling your personal story, and you want to use your life story to bring about change. We absolutely welcome all the stories. Now, I think we've spoken so much about sustainable storytelling and the limitations and what it looks like. In case when you join the show you were wondering, I always see this, but what is it? Okay, so now let's go into the best practices of effective storytelling. Let's begin with you, Idok, at Masterpiece Uganda. How do you guys at Masterpiece Uganda ensure that that your storytelling efforts are authentic and credible? Like, especially when you're...
Thank you, Jackie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jackie. So, like I was saying earlier, we prioritize a lot of consent and co-creation. So before we use anyone's story, we get consent from them. Then we train our participants to document their own stories. We teach young people to learn how to document their own stories. For instance, using smartphones, and we also use release forms translated into local languages. So before we use your story, we use those release forms that you sign and give us consent to use your story. For example, in our upcoming My Journey video series, which is going to be entirely youth produced, ensuring raw and unfiltered perspectives. We are trying to get young people to participate in this video series by of course getting all the consent and permissions to use their stories.
Okay.
So consent and content.
Now, it was very important to ask because it's very tempting, especially when you're covering marginalized communities. There is a tendency to want to, exaggerate a story, or to want to to use the story because it's exciting, but again, at what cost? I like that you're already taking initiatives. Sudipto. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Sudipto, what do you believe?
Actually, I just remembered from what you just shared, that is exactly what I was going to say, is that the lens through which we tell stories.
Yes.
For us in Akasha, I think that it is very important, like in our storytelling practice, we try to critically examine how we are conditioned to, to perceive something already, and how to change that conditioning to look at things in a new way, which is more organic to our culture, to our society, rather than something that we have been taught to. So I think that there, and also exploitation of the marginalized community sometimes comes due to the fact the way we look at them as from a colonial or from a look, from that exploitative, extractive mode. So I think that is very, 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 very much important. The process of how stories are emerging. Yeah, how to not to voice, because a lot of people who are in the marginalized community sometimes are afraid to or even we are afraid to voice our stories because we feel that we will be judged, or we are not saying the right things because we are not that educated, or we don't know so much, or we are not that successful. But the stories, everybody should be able to tell the stories from their own point of view, and we should be enabling that process of storytelling, and that is, I think, very important.
Yeah, and you spoke about exploitation, and that neocolonialism. There's a picture of Africa that usually goes out, and these days Africans are a lot. The hungry child who looks starved, and that is the picture of, oh, Africa is starving. Africa is, because somebody is shaping.
There is exactly. Identity politics, sort of like they put identity before, and they forget that there is a huge, rich life within every community. So yes, that is one of the problems of storytelling in the sustainable world, that it all becomes like formula, like, the images are the same, the narratives are the same, the facts are the same, so you just keep repeating, and you forget that there is life happening every day, every moment in that community. And for us, it is important, for cool leaders and for Akasha, like Culture Month, to bring the essence of that life out, not so much about identity. So it is beyond identity, beyond issues. Find the real community has a voice. That voice has to be freed, liberated from these exploitative norms, and frameworks.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Sudipto, for sharing. Enoch, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, gentlemen, for staying online. And thank you so much, my viewers, for staying around. Do move this link. Do share with your friends. We're talking Storytelling Friday is Glow Up, Grow Up. As in, this is personal development. And today we're in the change-making space. These are conversations we rarely hold. And right now we're in a world where everyone is a storyteller. Everyone has the power to hold your phone and say something. But what you're saying, is it for good? Is it for the good of your community? Are people at the grassroots good? Are you being their voice? Are you exploiting the people because you feel like, oh, this child is suffering, let me take a picture, it's going to go viral? You are exploiting that person's story. Are you using the wrong intentions, to tell these stories?
Yeah.
If you're just joining us, we do have Sudipto Dawn, who is a change maker at Cool Leaders and also a founder at Culture Monks, which is very big on storytelling and using talent, and it's a global connection. It's a global network of different creatives. I love what they're doing there as the Culture Monks. You've been seeing some of their works running on the screen, the different posters, as I was talking of Akasha, and until he explained it's the sky. Now it finally made sense to me as well. So it's very interesting what they're doing there. And also Masterpiece Uganda is represented by their project coordinator Enoch Nsubuga. Today's dialogue is a collaboration between the two organizations, and today we're talking story, sustainable storytelling. On the screen, that is a picture in Zambia at the Kevina. It's coming to 10 years. That is a wall of connection that Masterpiece painted. Can I talk about the picture of the wall of connection?
Yes, Jackie. So that's a concept that we've been using for a very long time in our storytelling efforts. It's a concept called walls of connections. So we use the power of paint and art to first of all to tell stories, but also to create unity in communities. So like the name, walls of connection. So instead of having walls of separation, in Uganda, when you move around, you'll find so many walls of separation. You'll find these walls of separation in schools and people's homes. But now we come along with this concept of walls of connection. So we use paint and art to create murals. So a mural is a collection of paint, pictures, and text driving a particular message. So we've gone ahead to create these murals. For example, now this one in Zambia. In Zambia has that part has a ghetto bit of it. So the message here was during the International Day of Peace, and so we're trying to pass out a message of peace
and hope
to
okay.
this community that is full of different people with different backgrounds. So yeah, that's walls of connection for you.
Thank you so much for sharing about the walls of connection. And if you pass by in Zambia, Kevin, at the Catholic Church, that is a wall you cannot miss. I love that wall. It's colorful, it's beautiful, and it's it's gonna stay there for as long as And Sudipto, hello.
Yes.
What advice would you give to organizations or individuals who are looking to use storytelling to drive sustainable initiatives? And maybe if you can share some common pitfalls they can avoid, it will also be good.
Yes, I think that we have to look at storytelling as a very ancient part of our life, and not a tool. It's not something which is a fad or something new. It's got a deep spiritual connect. It's about the vision we create of divinity, of images that we create, which is much deeper than the just problem of sustainable problems or problems. So I think storytelling has a huge power to transform behavior, the way we think, the way our total collective consciousness is built. So I think that it's my personal advice to always look critically and to go deeper into the subject, to look at your own practices in storytelling, the rituals that were used, the various modes of presentation, and to develop that, and then of course, as I said, if you go to the storyboard and try to create a story, I think you also come to the point of where there is a problem and where you're trying to find a solution. And there one must take multiple voices into perspective, have like collective storytelling sessions on the issue to find different voices, and then have maybe not one solution, but several possible solutions to the problem. So I think it's very important to have participation, to have more people sharing their stories in the community. So I think that participative mode is very important. So this is what I would say. Deepen the practice, go to the roots, and also involve more people, more voices, more stories. Not just a singular perspective, but multiple perspectives.
Wow. There's nothing I can add. You have answered and answered and answered. Enoch, let me ask this in the perspective of Masterpiece Uganda, because this show is unapologetically Ugandan. So yeah, let's make it count. Enoch, how can Masterpiece Uganda, can you hear me? How can Masterpiece Uganda and cool leaders, can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you, Jackie.
How can Masterpiece Uganda and cool leaders support and collaborate with audience members who are interested in using storytelling to drive sustainable development in their own communities?
Thank you, Jackie. So, you see, storytelling isn't just a tool, but a catalyst for ownership. Yeah, when communities share their own narratives, they drive sustainable change. So start small, yeah. Start small, document one story, amplify it, and watch it. Watch it inspire action.
Wow. So yes, start small and watch your story grow. Like Sudipto said, there are different stories of storytelling. Sometimes you may not see the impact right away, but I mean, we all know how they saying is people will not forget how you made them feel. So what your story does to people, they will not forget, and that is partly maybe how you drive sustainable development or transformative change in your community. So Dipto,
Yes,
what is
that's
the
beautifully put. It's sensorial, the senses, how you affect the senses
Yeah.
that stays in the memory
Yeah.
more than what you said. It's you as a person who is telling and how you are telling the story, which is very important.
All right. So Dipto, what is the most important step that individuals or organizations that what is that step that they can take today? Those that are probably have watched the show or that are going to watch the show. What's that one step they can take to start, leveraging storytelling? Leveraging storytelling for
I think
sustainable
that,
development.
Yes, I think it's very important to bring the community together and to show them films or theater which sort of opens up the perspective about, that kind of a film. To open up their consciousness to other possibilities, they realize that how this storytelling is, or even storytelling per se, for that matter, to have these events and then also to have workshops where you give them the basic tools of storytelling, where you teach them how to make a story, how to present a story. So both are important to, first of all, raise awareness, raise consciousness, and then give the tools of the workshopping. So event and workshops around storytelling is very important, where you can use storytelling like a film, or even storytelling, folk storytelling, or any other forms of storytelling, but which is changing their perspective about how they see the space and how they see language and everything. So that is very important, and workshops. And use the. I think that now with Masterpiece, we are offering this online possibility that we have. We can easily connect communities to experts. Of course, the experts are always there in the community itself, but if there is need be, there is possibility of connecting them digitally, so that the knowledge transmission is always happening, and there is this interplay happening also all the time.
Wow. Now this is to both of you. Stuart, how much time do we have to the end of the show? How much time do we have left? I'm just trying to be time cautious. Okay, so we have only 3 minutes. So as we conclude, I'm going to ask both of you the same question. I'll start with you, Enoch. What is the one thing that you hope our audience takes away today in relation to our conversation on storytelling for sustainable development? And after that, we'll go to Sudipto.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. Key takeaway for the audience, yeah? Storytelling is powerful, yeah? And it's something that everyone should take advantage of, especially organizations, even businesses. Start creating your own stories, yeah? Use your own narratives to drive sustainable change. Like I said, start small, document one story, amplify it, and watch the magic. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Enoch. Sudipto, what is the one takeaway that you hope after our whole hour of talking sustainable storytelling that the audience takes away or remembers.
Yes, I hope that in future programs we have lots more people come and share stories, simple stories, and also in their own life with their friends and family and in office, they share stories. And these stories, it's best not to focus on negativity. It's best to try to make stories which are, which brings about a kind of a refreshment, which is imaginative and which drives things towards, reduces the toxicity of life, sort of, and heals. So I think that is very important that on a daily basis to even small stories to your children or to your partner or often to customers or anybody, which drives because newspaper and everything, they are selling so much story about violence and negativity and toxicity. It's for us to, as school leaders, to create other stories, stories which are healing. That's very important.
Wow.
Have another perspective.
Yeah.
Green narratives, they call them.
Yes, stories. Green narratives. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. That was Sudipto Dawn, changemaker at Masterpiece and founder Culture Monks, and of course we got to hear from Enoch Subuga, project coordinator at Masterpiece Uganda. Now, if there's one thing that you do take away from this conversation today, I do hope that it educates you. I hope that this show or this episode or this conversation, I hope that it educates you, it inspires you, and most importantly, it prepares you to become a powerful force of change in your community, wherever you are. Thank you so much for watching and for staying locked. Do share this show with everyone and your friends. My name is Jackie Deweyi. The show is Unapologetically Ugandan, and we are coming to you live daily on YouTube. And of course, my producer is Stuart. My producer is Stuart from Clap Records. His number is on the screen, 0777-289-993. I do hope that you can do what? I do hope that you can contact him when you need a live stream for your wedding, for your events. If you want Paint for You is the place to go. Mufa Pendo Stays on the screen is an Airbnb that is running offers between now until the first week of April. Yeah, so go to Airbnb on the app and then book Mufa Pendo Stays, reminding you that Building Experts is the place to go. Building Experts, there in Nakasero on Capital Shoppers Plaza, and these Building Experts have everything: tiles, bathroom ware, kitchenware, name it all. They got it on 0392914256. I'll say the number again for you: 0392914256. And yes, do bring us your business. We would love to work with you. We're excited and we thank God most importantly that you are alive and I am alive. And yes, it's a Friday, so as you get into the weekend, do take care of yourself. Don't do what I wouldn't do, and remember your mama's voice in your ear if you're about to mess up, and be a good girl and be a good boy. So do take good care of yourself. See you Monday on the Deweyi Drive again. On Mondays we do talk love, marriage, lies, relationships, everything that's what we talk about on Monday. So do not miss. Otherwise, for now, do share this conversation, and hey, do share with us your feedback. We would love to hear from you.